Hi guys, Lasshatry here, and today we're just gonna all visit and talk, kind of like a miniature podcast, I suppose. So today joining me are Marc, Cassidy, and Larry. Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, we're the Wiggles.
Hi.
I wasn't supposed to introduce Larry like I usually introduce him, where I'm like, here's Larry, I guess. I mean, if we have to. So, I mean, at least this time around, I was like, and
Can we
here's
talk about how I
Larry!
got offered to be on Naked and Afraid?
Can we talk about how that didn't happen?
Yes, I believe we will not talk about the offer I got to be on Naked and Afraid.
Larry,
Okay, go ahead.
nobody's going
Go
to
ahead.
want to see you naked. Sorry.
Or afraid.
And
Or
Afraid.
afraid.
You might want to see that last part. The last
I don't know. A
sounds
naked
better.
and afraid Larry somehow sounds like he's gonna have a massive erection.
Oh, God.
Wait, does the erection scare him?
It's possible.
What is this? I have a kid, but I don't know where this came from.
Oh my god. Alright, so what are some of the stuff you guys want to talk about?
I have a headache. We can talk about that.
I don't fucking care.
Larry, you always have a headache. You're like
No, you're
like
the
a woman
headache.
that doesn't want to have you're like a woman that doesn't want to have sex. You know, I have a headache tonight.
Oh, God.
I put on the sweatpants, tighten them. Can't get in there.
There's
Always
some
a
new
gamble
games
with sweatpants.
that I've been looking into playing for my channel. Layers of Fear being one of them.
Layers of
We're
Fear,
going through
I-
Outlast.
That'd probably be a highly recommended game right there. I gotta tell you, I've heard nothing but good stuff about that so far. People are enjoying it. I mean, it's pretty much a straightforward game. You know, you get through with it. Replay's not that great, but it's a great thing to walk through. And
I heard from another fellow YouTuber that said that the jump scares are very well placed in the game, and that it definitely measures up in the horror genre for video games and stuff. So I'm excited to try it. And so, I mean, Outlast has Outlast, and then there's the DLC Whistleblower. So I've got to get through that. And then, of course, Outlast 2 is going to be coming out. The trailer is on YouTube and stuff, and I can put a link in the video so that people can check it out. It's really bizarre and stuff. There's just, like, some guy babbling on, and yet it still makes me feel creeped out. Because that game is just, I'm playing it right now, and obviously I haven't beat it. But if you guys have watched any of my videos and stuff or watched anyone else play it, it's just... holy shit, like, that game really gets to you. And you think about it after you're done playing. You know, like, Alien Isolation, like, in the moment, you're like, okay, you're scared and stuff, but afterwards, it's whatever. But, like, Outlast, like, ugh, fuck that game.
yeah, you're.
Well, you know, another good.
Your reactions
It
to
was
some of
good
that
the
thing's
first
funny.
time you played it, for the jump scares, but afterwards it just kind of, replay value. It wasn't as scary. Was Fear.
Right. I feel like horror games, the genres really... I think, yeah, but I feel like they just keep getting better, and I feel like they keep raising the bar, if that makes sense. Even a game as simple as Five Nights at Freddy's is so popular because even it's so simple, and there's not much to it, but yet it really gets to you. And even, like, not even, like, even branching out from video games, the whole horror genre out there and stuff. Think about, like, the creepypastas that
Yeah.
have become popular, and Slender Man, you know?
You know-
That kind of stuff really gets to people.
I have to
I
say
need to watch more.
that back in like 2008 and those times, like Dead Space and all that stuff, I felt like the horror genre was very weak at the time. There wasn't a lot of people producing games that were really horror worthy, and you just had very little to choose from. And I like how it's progressing further and further, and you see more and more horror games nowadays. I mean, another good one that's coming. I think it's either already out or it's coming out. Is Caffeine, which is going to be coming out soon.
Oh, I haven't
Or
heard
it is
anything about
out.
that.
Yeah, look it up. But yeah.
Well, and I feel like video games, when it comes to the horror genre, just strictly speaking horror here, are definitely taking over just all media because horror movies have definitely lost their edge. Cassidy and I go to quite a few horror movies, and they are
aren't
just
scary anymore.
they're not. Like, we went to that forest, and it's
That was dumb.
the story is lacking, and I feel like it just all falls apart.
What exactly was okay? Was it about like the suicide forest in Japan? Was that
Yeah,
what
it was about the
Yes.
suicide forest.
Okay.
And actually, speaking of it, a bunch of people were very upset about the movie being made in the first place because for first things first, the movie takes place in Japan and is about an actual suicide forest where people in Japan go to kill themselves because suicide and mental illness in Japan is a huge problem.
It's a
And so
very
it's a very serious issue. And we as Americans made this movie with a white main character looking for her white sister who goes into this forest that is really we took it and we took a really sad tragic event that
tried
actually
to
where
make it
can
happened.
our
we
own.
see?
Yeah.
Where can we see that taking place again? I mean, obviously there was already a Japanese version of this film, but The Grudge was one of those films where they take
Right.
something that was originally Japanese
We-
and
Does anybody remember the movie Pulse?
yes, I remember
That
the
was
movie Pulse.
originally in. It came out like and I could be wrong about this. Somebody can Google it if they want. I'm not really going to worry about it. But
Lauren.
it came out years in
Lauren, Google it.
advance of the American version.
She's our
And
Googler.
The American version is actually completely fucking different. Same idea, same concept, but completely fucking different.
Right. Well, we seem to kind of take other like European and China, like our Asian movies, and we fuck them up. Like even movies like we insult people's like their ethnicities and their culture and stuff. So like Chernobyl Diaries, with what happened in with the nuclear meltdown and everything. We make a
Crazy
movie
fucked up shit
about
happened there, though.
Right, it's really sad and it's horrible what happened and stuff. But like Chernobyl Diaries is about like a bunch of people who survived the radiation and are now mutated and like eat people and shit. That kind of shit is just stupid.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and like it's fun to watch and it's like, oh, like, and it gets people's attention. It makes money, but it's also very insulting and very like horrible to the people who lost their lives there. And like that's just my opinion. But like these, it's just sad that these horror movies. It's not the same as back in the day with good old Michael Myers and
Now,
Freddy
I
Krueger
love
and
a good
Jason
old
Voorhees.
slasher
But
film.
now,
I used
see,
to
the whole
adore
thing
those,
about
but-
those movies is, Freddy, Friday the 13th, the Halloween movies, those are, really the only character, the only personality that the character had was just the fact that they walked around and killed people. Now, at least
Those are
Freddy Krueger was a drawing character. I mean, let's face it, Robert Englund made Freddy Krueger what he was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, now the new version, I'm sorry to tell everybody, the new version of that movie sucks. You want to watch, granted, the special effects in the old ones are not that great.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, but
Not
the
just-
technology back then, it wasn't really that bad.
Well, yeah, but you gotta
Right,
give them
right.
props, though.
So it's not just even horror movies. Just like Hollywood in general seems to be remaking or making sequels or prequels to stuff, and everything just seems really overdone.
Because they're
And that's why
running
we get
out
really
of
excited.
ideas.
Now,
Right. And that's why we get really excited about stuff, even though it's technically he's an anti-hero, but that's why Deadpool is so big and huge, because it's new. It's something we haven't seen in a movie like that before. We know the character and we're familiar with him, but seeing something in a movie that we didn't know what to expect, we didn't know what was going to happen in that movie. And there's not that many movies that we can, look forward to at that.
that's what brings me to another thing, is I think the thing is now, is with something new like that, you always feel like you're definitely taking a big risk because it's a hit or miss situation. But that's the thing. We want good quality movies nowadays. They need to do what they did back in the day and grow some fucking balls, sorry to say that, and say, all right, let's put this out here. This is something crazy that nobody's thought of before. Maybe it'll be good, But there's so many people thinking, nah. Let's just pump out the same old crap. We'll get the people who go to everything. At least then they'll go, and then we'll have our money.
Exactly. They need to trust new writers and people with new ideas to come up with new stuff, because this, and do not get me wrong. The new Star Wars was fantastic.
Absolutely,
Absolutely wonderful. So if you're gonna make sequels and stuff, remakes, I don't see a point to. I don't see a point to remaking movies and stuff. Like, okay, the recent Fantastic Four movie, there was no reason to remake Fantastic Four at all. There was no reason to remake it at all. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me that they even spent the money and spent the time to do that stuff. I haven't seen the movie myself, but I've heard that movie totally flopped.
It was basically, they were trying to set it up. It was a setup movie for the next movie, which I can't stand. And you see that in a lot of superhero movies nowadays. It's basically just a build up to the next movie, and that's what they want. It's just an introduction to the characters, and then, hey, this is what's going to happen next.
But the only movies that I really give a shit about are the ones that are super big, with those worlds that are so large that it makes sense to continue that stuff. It's the same thing with video games in me. Mass Effect, great storyline, wonderful game, big universe. It makes sense that they're working on another one. But it's certain games and stuff where they just keep, Assassin's Creed and stuff, where they just keep pumping it out and stuff. I don't feel like Assassin's Creed's world is big enough to keep putting out as many games as they're trying to put out. They're burning their fucking franchise to the ground. Exactly. I don't give a crap. I don't. It kind of loses
no offense,
its,
Mark.
Well, those games that they release certain ones so fast, and it makes their world seem smaller to me. Where games that look at Fallout, for instance. Fallout takes years and years and years for them to make it, because they really put their heart and soul into that game. And when it finally comes out, it's so worth it. That game, even the map really is not that huge in perspective, but to us, we've waited so long to play that game that it's finally, yes, it's like a whole world to us, You get transported into that world. That's the shit that I want to play.
Well, surprisingly, although a lot of people have said that Fallout 4's map might not be as big as Fallout 3's was, in some perspective, but I'm actually still playing that, and I'm falling upon new discoveries every day that I didn't find on another playthrough, and I'm just wowed by it.
I feel like you could play that game for the rest of your life and be happy. And some people are oh, I need new stuff. My dad is still playing Fallout 4, and I believe my dad is level 104. So he loves it so much, and he waited for that game, and he got what he wanted, and that's what I look forward to in video games and stuff,
I wanna rewind back to the horror thing for a little bit, and we were talking about the slasher films. Yes. I noticed that there is a Friday the 13th horror video game coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
what's
it
called?
It's just called Friday the 13th, and I think it's going to be interesting. I wonder if they're going to put it in the perspective of survival as, you're the teens at the camp, or are you going to be Jason playing around, or can you mess around with both?
Well, I found an article just right now. It looks like here. I was just reading about it. Give me a second. There's a lot of information out about this game, but it looks like it's going to be available on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. They've moved the rating from a T rating to an M rating, because that's what they were aiming for originally. They said they have some fun, brutal scares in the games and creative kills that their franchise is known for throughout the game. And they didn't want to have to risk, like, telling the story with the T rating. So they basically changed it to an M rating now. So it's going to be bad. It's
In a good way.
Video game,
it's going to be bad good.
It says the Friday the 13th video game is a 1 versus 7 multiplayer game where camp counselors try to survive the night against the brutal killer Jason Voorhees. And yes, you can play as Jason. So that means we all could play that. And
we could.
Yes.
Oh my god, that would be
awesome.
Fun.
Yeah.
So that's gotta be something we'll have to look into.
I could picture that being great for us. Like, that could definitely work for us.
Right?
Yeah. I gotta say
Larry?
about the old slasher movies. Those are what nowadays you call date night movies.
Horror and chill. Slasher and chill.
Yeah. And
Just
they're also
turns you on when watching those teenagers get mutilated.
Well, yeah, it makes you get closer. You'll snuggle up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
And
nothing warms my heart than watching teenagers
like
get
My Bloody
decapitated.
Valentine. They purposefully remade that and released it for the purpose of date night movie. You know.
You know,
Well,
I
the same
remember
thing with
watching that
Prom
movie.
Night.
I remember watching the remake of My Bloody Valentine years and years and years ago, so I was pretty young, and I remember thinking pretty highly of it. I remember actually really liking that movie. Like, so there's actually horror movies that I am very, very fond of. Like the Saw, like the original Saw. Let me reiterate, I have a theory about the Saw movies that only the odd number ones are good.
Yes, I love the Saw movies. They are my favorite. Oh my goodness.
That original, and no spoilers, of course, because I'm sure we're going to catch someone watching this who's never seen them, but the ending to the original Saw blew my mind. Or I watched the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I loved that movie. That was one of the very first, like, real scary horror movies I've seen. One of my favorite horror movies of all times is The Descent. Has anyone seen that?
No.
I have, yes. That was excellent.
That's one of my favorites. That one still gets me because it's about these women that go spelunking, I guess you could say. They go they're going to go look through these caves. They're going to go like through caves and they're going to go climb into these
Does
caves.
not sound like what it is.
Well, isn't that what spelunking is?
Yes,
sure it
spelunking is cave diving.
Okay, that's good.
It's just Cassidy's trying to turn it into something dirty.
No, but it just sounds dirty. It sounds like
The
I'm not even
movie
gonna say it.
starts
No.
out with these
Cassidy's a
women
perv.
spelunking each other.
Oh my god. Wow.
No, so they go into these caves and
Now Larry's
there's
gonna
one
be sitting there
chick
flicking the bean.
and
Oh my
Hey,
god.
I don't have a bean.
oh my god, I've lost control.
I don't have a
I'm sorry, I
bean.
didn't mean to make it dirty.
I am
Long
a man.
story short, The Descent, if you haven't seen it, is
Which
about
means-
these friends who go into some caves and there are these creatures and they're horrifying. And it's, if you're claustrophobic, do not watch that movie. It'll ruin you forever.
I was trying to imagine
There.
myself
I
like
actually think I've seen it.
I know this is terrible, but like I was trying to imagine myself under like building of a collapsed building, like under rubble, like just packed
Ooh.
in, like waiting for somebody to help me out. Because I think about how terrifying it must be, and I like just try to scare myself that way.
I don't know why this like reminded me when you said building, but is anyone excited for the new Cloverfield movie?
The
No.
new
I didn't
the
know.
Really?
new Cloverfield movie. Now I have to say, Canadian friend Blue Willis, as you know him, Jazz, you were in the party the other day.
Right.
He mentioned how he had seen Cloverfield Lane, and how it wasn't much thing, and there wasn't much the monsters. But if you really analyze the trailer, they weren't really trying to sell the movie on the monsters. They were really just trying to sell the whole John Goodman in the
But
bunker with these people, you know.
if you guys have any of you guys actually seen the original Cloverfield, like I love that movie, and they didn't really have much of the monster in the movie.
It was a found footage film.
Right, and it's about them surviving, and like it's a lot of clips of them running away and hiding and, you know, getting impaled and dying and all that shit. So I feel like the way that they're marketing this movie, because there was a trailer when I went to go see Deadpool tonight. There was a trailer for this Cloverfield Lane movie, and I feel like the marketing is to like, because you know it's about Cloverfield, so you know there's gonna be monsters and stuff. I do believe there's gonna be monsters in that movie. I do believe you're gonna see stuff in the movie, whether it's, you know, halfway through it or towards the end and stuff. But that's exactly how Cloverfield was, and I think that's gonna stay true to it. So I feel like it's gonna be more like a suspense movie, not so much because that's what Cloverfield wasn't ever a horror movie.
Another
so I
thing,
feel like I'm excited about it.
I want to specify this for any. I mean, I don't want to assume all of you guys haven't seen it, because obviously some people who are listening to this have obviously seen it. But for those who haven't, when we say monsters, it was kind of interesting because it wasn't your normal like found footage monster in the woods or something like that. Cloverfield was actually about like a Godzilla-sized monster invading New York.
Right.
And he had these tiny little creatures that would come off of its skin that they bite you. You would like explode or something. That's some crazy shit.
It was some crazy shit.
That was some really crazy shit. Like, I flipped out when they took that woman behind the curtain, and like all you see is like her freaking out, and then like blood just splatters everywhere. Like she just blows up.
See, that's the thing that was like well done about it, though. Is like that's the kind of stuff that was, and like that's the kind of stuff I appreciated in Deadpool, with some of the cinematography of like the gross stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I don't love that stuff, but if it can make me look away, like, good on you. You guys are doing something right. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of shit. Like, I want the blood and guts and gore and stuff. I don't want too much, because if it's too much, then, like, and, like, that's a problem in, like, horror movies and stuff, where it's just constant guts and gore and shit. But if you add just a couple parts of the, like, cringe, that's gonna, like, solidify you a place in my heart as a movie, I guess I'm trying to say. Weirdly wording it, because I love that cringe feeling at least once or twice in a good movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, this is really random to point out, but I just want to say it because it's not that major of a spoiler and stuff. I lost my shit watching Deadpool today. He was wearing a Rent musical t-shirt. I fucking...
I never noticed that.
Yes. At the beginning of the movie, when it goes back to his past and stuff, and before he hit the experiment and stuff, he has a Rent t-shirt on, and I teared up. I was so happy. Like,
I believe I didn't notice that.
I noticed a lot of stuff in that movie. I noticed a lot. I knew that there was gonna be Easter eggs and shit, so my eyes were like, I kept my eyes peeled. So like, even like in like some of the stuff that like people are like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like, that stayed true to him. Like the Hello Kitty stuff. Like, that's, like, in the comics and stuff, and she's always, like, crazy about Hello Kitty.
Unicorns!
And the fucking... Oh my god,
Oh my god, that was
movie
bad.
was so funny. We probably shouldn't talk about it. Mark hasn't seen it yet, so we have to stop. I'll just reenact the whole movie right here and right now. I'd still do Ryan Reynolds with his... grossness.
Oh, yeah.
I would
in a heartbeat. Oh my fucking god.
Like, he came out of the experiment and he was like, how is she gonna ever look at me? And I was like, honey, like, I don't care how disfigured you looked. Exactly. Cassidy and I will take very good care of you. What are we gonna call our podcast, you guys? I didn't even think of... We're gonna have to come up with a name for this little thing we're doing right now.
I thought we were naming it...
We're gonna call it Muff Diving.
Muff Diving.
In Lake
the
Gina.
podcast.
In Lake Gina.
So what are we gonna call it? Maybe we
Your
should have a play off of the word ass hats, because like Lasshat, like, you know, it's Lasshatry, which is off of the, the fact that my
Let's call it
dad
ass
still calls
hats.
me an asshat. You just want to call it asshats? That sounds,
Yes.
I don't know. We gotta come up with something clever.
Let's call it
Clever's not
asshat.
quite Larry's thing.
I know.
Oh, you have no idea.
What if we called our
Yes, I got.
podcast Lassociation? Like association, like association, but with an L.
It's kind of clever.
What do you guys think?
I've heard worse.
Sounds clever, but
Wow.
cheesy.
You're
No?
cheesy.
Lassociation, you guys don't want to make it?
I mean,
I'm good with it. I was just fucking with you.
Well, that's true.
What if
wait,
we
are we
call
done
her-
recording?
No, we're not. I'm trying to come up with a fucking name in our fucking podcast. So we can have episode 1 where we come up with a name. But you're fucking placing TNT and I can hear it! And so can now God and everyone else in this podcast.
Okay. I'm not playing it through my mic anymore. Is that better?
No, I can still hear it.
Oh, you can hear it through my TV.
Well, turn your TV down. God.
What? I couldn't hear you over my TNT.
TNT.
Oh my god.
I'm done.
Okay, hold on. I'm almost done. I am almost done with the TNT placement. Okay,
What are you gonna
any
blow
minute
up?
now. Oh, you. Oh, you don't want to know.
We
That
need to
doesn't
come up with a
sound-
name, people.
Awesome. How about? Oh, I've got one. Lassociation.
Oh my god.
It's completely original. I came up
I
with it
wonder
myself.
who came up with that idea. That sounds wonderful. We should go with what Larry says.
Just do everything you want to do.
Jazz, you sound a bit butt befuddled. Maybe a little bit
Butt
posterior
befuddled.
pulverized.
Dun, dun, dun. I hear the drums echoing tonight. I listen.
All right, fine. How about
Are
ass
you
act?
listening to that?
Ass act?
Shit.
A similar
I mean,
ass
you include Larry's favorite thing, butt play.
He's not even here. You can't make fun of a man that's not here.
I am
Where'd he
here.
go?
How dare you?
Rest in peace. We all gather here today in loving
I'm
memory
here!
of Larry.
Jesus Christ, I'm here.
Where
What
is
is
Larry?
wrong with you
Does
people?
anyone want to say some nice words about Larry?
I'm here!
Who would be desperate enough to say nice things about Larry?
Look, I am right
Exactly.
here. I know you guys can hear me. Not cool.
Cassidy, would you like to go first?
I know I'm not in
Well,
a bubble here.
I'd
Stop
just
doing
like to
that.
say I miss his.
Right here.
Constant
For God's
yelling.
sake. I am right here. Is my mic on? Am I muted? Hello?
Seriously though, where is Larry?
Larry was a dear
Oh
friend to
my
me,
fucking God.
and will be
Seriously?
remembered
What the fuck?
very fondly. In fact, I think I will if I have a son, if I ever conceive a son,
Jazz,
I will
I'm
name
right
him
here.
Larry.
Nico, Lasshatry, I am right here.
In memory
Hello?
of my dear friend Larry.
Dear God, by all that is holy, I'm about to go take a shit in the toilet. I'll be back. You guys are assholes.
Now we will lower the body into the cold ground.
That's
Ashes
not
to
what they
ashes, dust
say.
to dust.
Dust to dust.
If we have
Stop
to
what
remember,
they-
if we have to remember him, we will. If we must.
Oh, poor Larry. I'm gonna miss him.
You guys are jackasses. Grade A.
What if we call our podcast Lass Effect? Do you think we'll get sued?
It's a
Let's-
parody.
Yeah, it is. Just like Mass Effect, but we call it
No,
Lass Effect.
I get that.
No, no one likes that. Okay, on to the next idea.
Why don't we
Last
call
one.
it Beats? Why don't we call it Beats by Dr. Dre?
Ooh, Dre.
I don't know. I don't
Forgot
feel like that
about
would go
Dre.
over very good. I don't know, you guys. There's Lass Holes and there's Jabber Babble and there's
I like
I don't know.
the society one.
The Lassociation.
Yeah, that one.
Do you guys like that one?
thought
We'll
it was
all be
cute.
Actually,
Lassociates.
that sounds terrible, but I got a better idea. How about Lassociation?
Oh my god, you piss me off so much.
Alright, I guess we're going with that. So that's
You
the
pissed
name
me
of
off.
this
Wait,
fucking
hold on,
awful
hold on.
podcast.
We're going with what? No.
Your mom.
Let's go
Now
with
get
my
over it.
idea, Lassociation.
Okay, Larry, we picked your idea. Congratulations.
Okay, alright.
I thought you'd be more excited.
It's totally my idea about that.
I thought you were gonna be more happy that we picked your choice.
No, I'm a depressed individual.
I know you are.
Yeah, do you? Alright, so should we call it quits, guys?
Yeah, let's
Are you
call
cute?
it quit a ring there.
Alright, guys. Happy watching! Say bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
everybody.